For the very first time, a property agent is being POFMA for his TikTok, and wow, finally POFMA is used to target those people who show off fake cars and fake lifestyle. Instead of no lah, he was POFMA for spreading falsehood about EIP, the ethnic integration policy, not about renting a supercar and telling others to join him in his sky is the limit career lah. Huh? Oh, I see. Wait, no. I don't want to hear you talk about this. I want to watch videos of people dancing and falling down or people. I'm glad you asked. So here's everything about EIP, summarized and simplified for you. Sian. So, before the 1960s, Singapore has an acute housing shortage and people live in crowded, racially segregated areas. Then HDB was established and our Akong Ama moved into HDB flats, and it looked like all races are living happily in HDB flats. But here's the thing, in 20 years, it was clear that segregation among the races has taken place again. For example, in Hougang alone, Chinese households form over 90% of the HDB flats, while in places like Bedok and Tampines, Malay households make up more than 30%. And as people started to buy resale flats, this segregation started to get worse, and soon, if nothing is being done, we might see an area filled with just one group. I mean, imagine 6th Avenue just filled with one group, the super rich group, and yeah, so take note that everything mentioned here is purely just about public housing, which is HDB. So, back in 1989, the ethnic integration policy, which some property agents like to call the HDB quota, was introduced. Basically, it has two quotas, the neighbourhood quota and the block quota. For example, when it just started, for the neighbourhood quota, the quota is 22% for Malays, 84% for Chinese, and 10% for Indians and other minority groups. That's very broad, so usually people look at the second quota, which is the block quota, whereby the quota was then 25% for Malays, 87% for Chinese, and 13% for Indians. Those are the limits. So if a flat has 100 units, then the maximum Chinese household in the flat is 87 units. Now, note that as time passes, the quota has changed a little bit, but the idea is the same. You can never find a HDB flat with just one race. When bidding for BTO, this quota is automatically set, so you don't need to care much about it. But when people buy or resell the flats, the limits must not be overshot too. So if any quota is met, then they cannot sell to a certain race. For example, if a flat has say 87% of the Chinese household already, and the quota is 87, and if you are a Malay household wanting to sell to a Chinese family, you cannot as a Chinese household quota has its limits. But if a flat has just 85% Chinese household and the quota is 87%, then you can sell to a Chinese household or any race as long as it doesn't overshot the quota. Now, it's hard to do the math because the number of flats in the flat is always different, so there's an easy way. Just head to this URL and then key in the block number to see if you can or cannot sell to a certain race due to the quota. This is updated on the first day of the month. I know the website also states SPR quota, but that's for another video. If you want me to do that video, just type cats have a different quota in the comment section, and if got over 50 comments, then I'll do that. In the new HDB resale portal, the ethnic eligibility is also provided. Yeah, so here's the interesting thing. This is only for the ownership of the flat. So for renter, the EIP doesn't apply because tenant stays are typically temporary in nature and do not affect the ethnic in our public housing estates in the longer term. So what did the agent in the POFMA video say? He said the EIP was established in 1960s, which is not true. It's actually in 1989. Secondly, he claimed that when people of minority groups sell their HDB, they cannot fetch a good price. Buy HDB is for profit one meh? No lah, of course no lah, no wonder kang POFMA lah, Buy HDB is to propose to girlfriend without having to buy engagement ring, cause BTO is cheap. Now, interestingly, back in 2022, HDB introduced a new system. If a household really cannot sell their flat due to the EIP, and they've really tried to sell but still cannot, then they can offer to sell back to HDB, which will buy back based on the fair price set by a professional licensed valuer. And then HDB will sell the unit themselves through the sale of balance flat exercises or open booking, kind of like BTO sale. Yeah, very interesting. Now, if you think I learned something, also watch this video to learn more about having cats in HDB flats. And thank you for spending almost 4 minutes with me. I really appreciate it.